Well, Robbie, 1-1 draw at Ilkeston last night. Does it represent 2 points dropped or 1 point gained?
On reflection today, probably a point gained. Any point away from home is a good point, especially if your home form is very strong. Straight after the game, you're thinking the amount of chances we created, how dynamic we were, the movement, the passing, how quick we were. You think it was 2 points lost because, let's be fair, everybody in that ground, players, management, fans, would have said if it was 3 or 4-0 at half time, it would have been a fair reflection. We missed so many opportunities. We worked the ball so well. We got a great goal from JJ, who's been terrific for us. But historically, as you know, at this football club, we need the second goal because teams will have a spell, and at times you have to suffer. And we did that the first 5 or 10 minutes of the second half, but we've seen that period off. And the halftime message was keep doing the same things, keep being aggressive, keep finding the spaces, and keep the rotations. And we did that. The only thing I said at half time was a collective error, an individual error, not concentrating will cost us. As a team, it's only us that can do that to ourselves. And, it happened, in the 65th minute, I think it was, where we just switched off concentrating. Because I think we're at our most vulnerable when we have all the ball and we're attacking, because you have to stay concentrated. And if you're a defensive-minded player, you have to count your numbers, you have to organise, you have to get people in their shape. Moments before we could have had a penalty, or should have had a penalty. It wasn't given, and that's when you've got to be counting your numbers. You've got to be saying the experienced players pulling people in, making sure you concentrate. And it was a lack of concentration where they got the goal from.
How much does it worry you how clinical we are in front of goal at the minute?
We are creating the chances, and we see Worksop winning 8-0 last night, and somebody's going to be on the end of a scoreline like that from us soon. If we get that second, it gives you a bit of a breather, and you can, it deflates the opposition, and you can go and get 3, you can go and get 4. And that was the message at half time. I really believe we could go and score 3 or 4 goals in that second half. But credit Ilkeston, they come back into the game, and they had a couple of chances after they scored. But let's be fair, we should have been out of sight. And I'm proud of the players, I'm proud of the performance. Once again, 2 goals conceded in 4 games. How brave they are with and without the ball. And to play for a team of mine, you have to be very, very fit. You've got to be at least 95% fit to play the way I want to play. And the players know that, so they're all working exceptionally hard in training to try and get in this side.
One of the big talking points from the game, of course, was should we have had a penalty just before Ilkeston's leveller?
I think everybody who watches the highlights will see that JJ, who was such a threat all evening, got in the box. He was brought down, and again, I know it's very difficult, being a referee and assistants, but I think on that occasion, I think everybody could see that it should have been a penalty. It wasn't given. It's a hard job being a referee, and you get them and you don't. But I believe it was. But that's not me moaning. We'll probably get decisions that go for us this season. It's an opinion. We all believe it was a penalty. But then that's when we have to be switched on. That's when we have to be pulling people into position. It was a one long ball and a lack of concentration. And it cost us. But what I will say that I'm so proud of my, defensively minded players, because if you look at Kenji, who's a winger, Trey's a winger, but Trey's adapted brilliantly well to being a fullback. Dawson and Mendy, Dawson was in his Bamber Bridge days, I think was a right back. I think that's how he started, and so he's got all the defensive qualities. He's been magnificent. Mendy again, his performance was great, and Kenji has adapted so well to being a fullback. And the way with my team to play is I want wingers as fullbacks because I want to be aggressive, and all 4 of them did very, very well, and it was just a lack of concentration which cost us. But it's that will happen. That will happen. But it's not any blame. It's just we have to stay switched on as a group. We have to stay switched on as management, and at times that will happen. And I'm sure that all the players will want to put that right at Whitby on Saturday.
After the equaliser, you reverted to a back 3. Explain the rationale behind that.
Well, we've done that in all 4 games now, because that was the whole point of pre-season, trying different formations and trying to get players into the side. Initially, my thoughts on the 3-4-2-1 was to try and get Alex and John in the 2-10 positions, but we left us a little bit exposed in the wing-back positions because Luke Duffy and JJ aren't wing-backs. You know, if you do the 3-4-2-1, those two have to stay high and wide. And that leaves you a bit vulnerable at the back down the side. So I went to a 3-5-2. I wanted to get an extra defender on. I just thought we were getting that done a little bit down the side. So we brought Fensom on to go into that back 3, put Trey as the wing back and Luke Duffy. And I wanted to get 2 centre forwards on the pitch. So I had Tom Clare and Doofus making his debut. And people might ask, you know, why no Alex Curran? Well, I look at Alex, who undoubtedly is one of our best players, one of the best players in the league when he's fully fit. You know, we know he's had injuries. He's still not quite right, but he's getting there. But the 3-5-2 doesn't really suit Alex. You know, he's, you know, in my team as one of the 2 number 8s. You have to be up and down. And Alex is not one of those at the minute, or he's not a wing back. So in that shape, it didn't really fit Alex's style of play. Saturday at home when we changed, Alex come on, he was magnificent, set up to go for Tom Clare. You know, there was lots of space, but last night when we were going a bit longer, I wanted to play it to the 2 centre forwards and getting the knockdowns, and we did that. Alex is working very, very hard to get into the side. Listen, I'm sure he'll get an opportunity very soon. But, you know, Alex can play as a 10 or he can play off the left in a 3. The formation last night was basically, people will say, changing. Was it negative to defend the 1-1, or was it positive to try and score an extra goal? Well, if you think about it, we have 2 8s who want to get forward, and that would have been Elliot, Whitehouse and John Rooney last night, 2 centre forwards, and Trey and Duff. So you're really attacking with 6 last night in the latter stages to try and get that goal. So it was a positive change. And it added a defensive-minded player, Lewis Fensom. So again, you're looking at all scenarios. That's why I suppose speak to John and Bandy a lot. You can see it because we do it as a collective. Then I have to make the decision, and those decisions will happen. Going to Whitby at the weekend, you know, do we stick with the same formation? Do we try a new formation? Because one thing which is happening is people are watching us play and they're trying to nullify our threats. So we've got to, you know, have plan B, C and D to thinking, right, in games, how do we get the best out of our more creative players? First half we were magnificent, second half I had to change it, but inevitably we got the point.
10 points from our opening 4 games. How do you reflect on that?
Magnificent. I think if you're going to workshop on the opening game to put a performance like we did, they're going to be right up there this season. It was brilliant. Prescott Cable's a newly promoted side coming to us. You know, we're very good. We got the 3 points. Guiseley going 1-0 down. Again, they're going to be up there. And Ilkeston, very, very good side. So it's a point more now this season than last. This is the period now where we need to kick on. Whitby away is going to be tough. It's a tough game. Every game's tough when you pull that Macclesfield shirt on. You know, a few of the lads, the new lads last night, when they see Ilkeston celebrating a draw, they couldn't believe it. But I've said to them, that's what happens. Every manager who's been into the football club have said the same thing, that when they can't believe how other teams and fans celebrate a draw. But that's what we have to put up with. That's playing for Mac. That's wearing that shirt. That's what the fan base and the size of the football club brings. It brings a cup final feel every time that we enter the pitch. The fans once again were amazing, getting behind the team, and I think they know that we couldn't have done any more to win the game. The only thing we could have done was take our chances, and inevitably we're going to have to start doing that because it'll cost us.
Big weekend now, isn't it? With Whitby on Saturday and Hyde on Monday, but you can't wait.
Yeah, it's a period where the bank holiday weekend is, do you rotate the squad, or do you try and continue the momentum? I think there might be one or two changes at the weekend. Going into Whitby, we have one or two injuries, but it's great to see Brandon Lee's nearly close to fitness. Keelan Adams will be back. Bringing Doofus in is fantastic. So yeah, it's going to be it's a hectic period, but a period we should be thriving. Hyde right up there. What a start they've had. They've got a lot of new players, but the manager's doing exceptionally well with them. So it's going to be a tough period, but it's a period I believe we can get 6 points out of. Will we? Who knows? I honestly believe with this group and this squad, if they can be guided, we can win. I believe we can win every game. That's not going to happen, and there's going to be a time when we do lose games of football. It might be the weekend, but I've just tried to stay positive, have a belief in the group, which we all have, and I've got to say that they've all been magnificent. And again, 2 goals conceded in 4 games, numerous chances created. We've just got to start taking those chances. Decisions will go for us, they'll go against us. But we've just got to be concentrated at all times, because we know that if you keep missing opportunities, Bob, they'll get a chance, and if they take it, then you're under a little bit of pressure. But at Macclesfield, it is pressure. It's all about pressure, and we love it.
Thanks, mate.